Hi there guys, Roscoe here again. I just thought I'd do a quick video discussing my thoughts on this piece a few days in after unboxing and displaying it. I know when you unbox a new piece or a brand new piece, and there's a lot of magic and awe that comes with it, and you just sort of take them back. But now after having it for a few days, just sit back and look at things a little bit more objectively, pick up a few things. And I want to touch on a few things I did in my review. So here is again, guys. It is very impressive. I'll stand by my comments that it's the best Jungle Hunter statue out there, without a doubt. I just want to go through a few things I don't like about it as well. There's not many things. To be honest, I'm going to be, very picky with the things I'm going to discuss. So, just the sort of, I suppose the OCD in me as a, artist myself, just seeing little things here and there. But yeah, very glad I got this in the collection, but I'll get started by talking about a few things. So, first little nitpick I'd probably have with this piece is the dreads. One thing I would like to see, I know they're a little bit pliable, so you can bend them a bit. Would like to see them sort of hang a bit more naturally. Just sort of coming in like that doesn't look right. Having a couple sort of hanging out with gravity, I think that would have made this a little bit nicer. And I know when you take this off the plasma cannon and the whole backpack med kit for it, having the dreads tucked behind, it looks a little bit odd. So when we get the closed mouth sculpt, I find it's going to look a little bit strange not having the dreads both hanging in front. So it does look a little bit weird, like he slicked his hair back. I know they have to do that to fit on the actual statue because of this. But yeah, ultimately we would have loved to have the dreads hanging forward and just having an individual sculpt that was suitable without that. But that's more money, more time, more things again. So it just starts to get ridiculous. So that's a little nitpick, just the dreads. I'm finding little factory sort of flaws around, like little nicks, and I suppose there's so much to the process of making these. Lots of little hits on the ground or moving little parts by factory workers. You're going to find little scuffs and scrapes here and there. Nothing major. Some of them have been painted over. Others sort of just must be putting down tables. You get a little mark or something like that. I've seen little sort of marks, very faint things around the place, especially in the bio. No big scratches like I've seen other people have. Some huge scratches on the piece. The necklaces I sort of played around with the other night and got them sitting a lot nicer, more natural, more film accurate. Having this bit further down, make sure it goes down to near his belt. Still, the one thing that probably bothers me the most is still the spine trophy, the bandolier. Find it's a little bit too thick. As I mentioned in the review, it doesn't taper smaller up his back. See if I can get around there. Yeah, it should be tapering a lot smaller up his back. If I was to find someone who could customize that or have an aftermarket one, that's something I probably would consider changing out on this piece. As a Predator fan, that's something that I do see, and that's sort of a little bit off. And as I mentioned, it does look a lot different to the prototype one. And even the one that comes on the bust is even different again. It's a lot smaller. I did discuss the sort of loincloth in the last video, how it was hanging over the codpiece thing here. I was wondering if you could tuck that in. I'm guessing they did tuck it in factory, but it's not sort of glued in that position. So being shipped and being posed before you put the torso on, it's probably very prone to sort of lifting out. Seen a lot of collectors where it hangs over the top here, but you can tuck that in. So I did take the torso off the other day and tucked it in nice and neatly. You can sort of move it around a bit, filling nicely. There's not much room behind there, but there is some, enough to get that in. And this little rope piece was hanging right down on mine because the loop was way too wide, and so it comes down here. So doing it how Prominent asked me to, you couldn't really get that effect because it just hung too low. They actually gave me too much rope. So I just looped it around the key twice. And when you put the body back on, it still sat really nicely. So much happy with the look now. So those out there that have got this and it's sort of covering it, you can tuck it in. Something you probably want to do before you put the torso on. Yeah, so that was, you know, I'm happy about that. One thing I forgot to mention in my review is the feet. I know a lot of people have issues with the feet. I've had multiple calls from collectors, especially in Australia, asking for help about getting the legs in. You've got to sort of make sure this one's going down as far as possible before that one hits. The pin hits on the ground on that one. Try to angle it forward and then it'll line up and then it just slots in. But make sure you have your fingers under each one so that it doesn't just drop and you end up chipping the toes. So I was very lucky because I was aware that a few people had issues before I got this. So mine actually, I was very surprised it went in within 15 seconds I had it in. So I was quite surprised how easy it was to go in. But my issue I forgot to touch on was the stump. So there's a key under the stump and a pin as well. I found that when I tried to put the stump in, I was like, what's going on? It wasn't sort of fitting in. So I removed it, had a look beneath, and I found out that the paint job, they did all the sort of custom job of putting a keyhole into the base. The opening was covered with lots of paint or polystone. So I had to file it wider. There was no way that pin was going in, that the hole was way too narrow. So I had to file mine out. And when I did that, it still looked quite nice and neat. And it seems to be the dimensions of a pencil. So if you get a pencil in the hole in the base, you should be okay. That's about the same diameter as the key in the log. So once I did that, put the log on, slot it straight in. So that was the one issue I had with assembling this piece, is they said didn't really check to see if that would fit after they made the base. Plants all went in really easily. I find, as I said, the instructions are really easy to maneuver with these plants. Another thing I've noticed is the water has some sort of ripple effect. So I'm guessing it's the type of resin they use in the process. Finding little spots and specks over the place, which do polish out. But yeah, it's a little bit strange. You know, they're not sure if they're working around mess in the factory. I know a few other people have seen theirs have got the same issue. Well, it's not really an issue, but they're a little bit, they're not as smooth and silky as you would expect, like you're seeing in this picture. Yeah, so I know with the Cinema Cat, this was flawless. The water was just dead flat, not a ripple or an imperfection anywhere. So I'm guessing this new sort of epoxy is a different type of material and leaves those effects. So yeah, but having this for a couple of days now, I'm actually now sitting back now, I've set it up and I'm enjoying it a lot more. Just you know, Predator fan of me, you know, the little minor gripes I'm seeing with it. Not enough to affect really how I feel about it, but you know, no piece is perfect, I'm assuming. So as always, if you go over everything with a fine-tooth comb or a spotlight, you're going to find something. So I think most statue collectors know that. You shine a torch on something at night, you're going to find something. So I'm quite surprised how quickly they produce these. You know, I waited about 18 months from pre-order to getting this. So that was quite fast, seeing that I've waited 3 years for the Warrior and waited nearly 3 years for the Dog Alien to come out. Waited 5 years for the Scar Predator bust from Cool Props. So they got this out quite quick. So yeah, absolutely impressive piece, guys. Definitely the best jungle hunter out there, without a doubt. Another thing I did notice is the signs are a bit different as well. The Cinema Cat style sign is all nicely textured from, I think, more the movie, whereas this is a more narrow font, and they deliberately left like a 2 mil gap between each letter. When you get to the A and T, it's nice there, but when you get this nice little gap there, but when you look at the T compared to the top, it does sort of bring the T over a bit more. Just a little gripe again, but I do prefer the red over the silver for this piece anyway. It's, I forgot to mention also, it's 93 centimeters in height, so it's quite large. The particle board I got him on is 70 by 80 wide. So you can just sort of imagine it's pretty much covering nearly the 80 centimeters in width and almost the 70 centimeters in depth. So if you've got a 70 centimeter shelf, you should be fine to put this on. But it's very heavy, 60 kilos, so you're gonna need a lot of support or the whole shelving is gonna come down with this piece for sure. And surprisingly enough, both the plasma guns both light up. They do have the option to put the cell batteries in. I thought only the one that would be sitting up would have the light up, but I played around with the spare one and it does open and have places for batteries as well. So that's really cool that you can have both lit up. So anyways, I just thought I'd give you the quick update on especially the sash issue, which I was asking people if they had any issues with or had any knowledge of, but I had a crack at it myself and worked out really well, and it looks a lot better now. All right, guys, any questions, just let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.